Welcome back to Hazardous Endeavors.
Yes, indeed.
There we go. I know it's been a little while, but welcome to Season 3 of Hazardous Endeavors. I am your host, Mark, and joining me today are the players. We have Elliot Frostmoon.
Hello, I'm back.
We have Victus.
Hello, I am here.
We have Wilf Tradewind.
Hello, is it me you're looking for?
And we have Jackson Shaw.
Hello, travelers, may Palor's light shine upon you.
And where we last left our intrepid adventurers.
Things were going bad.
Very bad.
Yes, indeed. You were in the town of Davenport. You had made your way there after your brief foray off into the island where you had a run-in, once again, with the Hand of Bane. As you made your way there, you then found that Davenport was rife with commerce and adventure, and also, apparently, where Lindo is from.
Venture, danger, and all the backstory.
Yes. You had dealt with the fact that there was a theater troupe, wink wink, in town that apparently Lindo owed quite a bit of money to, although they kept referring to him by the name Edwin, and not Lindo. You also found out that Lindo had an ulterior motive while in town. He had to make his way to the estate of the Watchfields, Cole Watchfield and his daughter Emma, where Lindo had to see what he could do about stealing a particular artifact from the young lady.
When doesn't Lindo have an ulterior motive?
That is fair. Unfortunately, when you arrived at the party, all hell broke loose, and an old friend, Lyle Enderwise, showed up and very quickly started changing as the massive black plate armor started to form in a cloud around him as the Hand of Bane, who apparently is your halfling friend, decided to attack Lindo in an attempt to remove the pieces of the armor of Bane.
I like to think of it as being a bit of a sizist cosplay.
Yes, indeed. And if I remember correctly, the evening ended with the Hand of Bane reclaiming the pieces of the armor and leaving Lindo basically bleeding out on the floor. And
with the giant gaping sword through his chest.
Yes, indeed. You had been able to bring him to one of the inns in town, where you've been caring for him over the past week. And he hasn't shown any sign of improving. The wound isn't really healing, and there seems to be something blocking him in his mind, so he's not gaining consciousness, even with some of the most adept healers in the realm within the town. You've spent a little coin here and there trying to get him better, but nothing seems to be working. And as you are all waiting and seeing, well, at this point, not quite on the level of despair, but definitely about to have to make a choice about your good friend, the door slams open, and standing there is your friend Elliot Frostmoon, who you had left back in Anrilathan, who now is standing at your door panting slightly from apparently running.
Elliot!
Yes?
When did you get here?
Now, anyways, we have some stuff to do.
Well, I mean, yeah, but we've got bigger problems.
That's
Lindo's
fine.
Sort of laid out.
I start handing people, like, pieces of ritualistic accoutrement.
Okay.
That I'm telling people, and I'm pointing in spots around the room. It's fine. I've spoken to the council member,
Lady of Mysteries, who you've been working under. Yes.
The Lady of Mysteries, and she has a plan, and we're going to do it right this second.
The only thing that you do not have on you, and something that is required for the plan, although you weren't really sure what you were going to do about it, is it requires some sort of radiant power source, and you're unsure as to actually how to make that happen. Although in the room is someone you don't recognize, sitting next to the bed with Lindo, and at first you thought it might have just been like maybe a statue that one of the priests or something have maybe left behind, although it then turns and looks at you.
Elliot, Victus.
Hello, I have heard much of you.
I have heard nothing of you.
Well, you have not been present.
I see. I've been replaced. Thanks.
No, not
Supplemented.
replaced. We accidentally found Victus on the middle of an island. It was very interesting, and demons kept on getting summoned. It was a trip.
I see. Better than undead.
I don't believe that I'm a replacement for anyone. There are not many like me.
What are you?
That's a little
Complicated.
This unit was created in order to fight in what is known as the War of Ascension.
Interesting. By which side?
Is this a joke? Is this what is called a joke?
Elliot's not great at the talking to people.
The entirety of my unit was defeated by the armies of Bane,
I see.
it seems. Except for myself.
I snap my fingers to detect magic.
Oh, yeah. Victus apparently is just completely drenched in magic, as it were.
Type?
Oh, fully radiant.
Fully radiant.
Seems to be some sort of... You've seen like drawings and some of the historical texts talking about some of the Warforged that were used back in the day, and that like the hand of Kellandar Brightblade touched them and instilled them with the power of Palor that literally like brought them to life.
Interesting.
Well,
Would you mind sitting in this spot right here?
Yes, if you wish.
Thank you.
can't figure out what this windy doodad does. Now, admittedly, I do not have quite the same level of arcane education as you, but I've failed to see the magical purpose of this particular device.
You'll see.
If I am sitting over here, then who will hold Lindo's hand?
Lindo is just laying on the bed, unmoving. Except every so often there's like a twitch, like he's having a really bad dream.
It'll be okay. I promise.
All right.
I come from the brightest minds of this realm,
I mean,
Oh.
yeah.
at least of the
His
current
dad's
time.
pretty smart.
Smarter even than him.
Are they for the side of light?
Yeah.
Kinda, mostly.
They helped us on our way to meet you.
Good.
That is good.
We're on the side of knowledge.
The side of light.
Sure.
Right then. So, Victus, you sit in the spot where you look around. If you wish, you can try an Arcana check to see if you recognize anything about what's going on.
I would also like to do that.
By all means.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because Birdie.
16.
A 16? Okay.
A 17.
So looking at this, you don't recognize the ritual itself, but you have seen some of the runes in conjunction in other spells, usually ones that involve not only planar travel, but also enchantment. And as you're looking at it, Victus, as you sit there in the middle, you find yourself sitting in the middle of it, you realize that at the moment you're like, oh, you're a power source.
Oh.
You also realize that powering this spell won't be fatal to you, but you're pretty sure that it's going to drain you to the point where you're going to need to recharge for a little while.
No worry. If it's for Lindo, it will be worth it.
Oh.
I assume that you will be using my energy to power this spell.
Yes. Smart one.
Maybe next time you should mention this ahead of time there, Elliot, before using other sentient beings as batteries.
No promises.
We'll make sure that you're able to rest in the Temple of Palor.
Thank you, Jackson.
All right.
So come in handy.
Yeah. Without further ado, the three of you join hands.
I put them. We put them in different corners of the room, like in specific spots.
Okay.
So it's inside the circle, but not.
Right.
Yeah.
With Lindo being in a central spot, or at least a focused area.
Yep.
Join hand.
Of the ritual area, and as
Do you need me to hold your stub?
As Elliot starts to say the words of the spell, almost immediately the room around you starts to get a little fuzzy. It's almost like everything goes out of focus and it's starting to like pulse. The only thing in the room, the only things in the room that are not out of focus are all of you as you're standing there and Lindo on the bed. Everything else is almost like you're focusing back and forth.
I'm getting a very big sort of feel to this.
You're also starting to get tired. You feel this wave of just heavy tiredness just roll over you. And you start to kind of wobble in place. You don't feel like your feet can move, though. So even though you feel like you're about to fall over, you almost feel like you can't. And as the echoes of Elliot's voice start to kind of fill the room even more and just become part of the droning, echoing part of the background noise, everything goes dark.
Good luck.
You hear this echoing. And the sound, not only does it sound like it's being like in an echo chamber itself, it sounds faint, as if it's just being drawn away. And the last thing you note as you're fading out is Victus's light issuing forth from their chest just starts to dim down to like a single point, almost like a star in the distance, and then nothingness. Victus, if you would please. So the three of you, as you start to kind of make your way through this dark void that you're in, you start coming into something is you can see at the edge of viewing, almost like multicolored clouds and starbursts just appearing in the distance. And as you feel like you're opening your eyes, you find yourself in a starless void filled with clouds every color of the rainbow. It looks like someone behind them is doing a puppet show. You see movement and images flittering across the different clouds. And as you're starting to look around, ahead of you, and you can tell it's ahead of you, although at first you didn't feel like you even had a physical body, you start to realize that there's a road in the distance. You see the first bits of cobblestone appearing in this void, giving it form, giving it shape and function. And as you get closer to it, before you even realized you were moving, suddenly your feet are in contact with these cobblestones. You feel yourself moving, and suddenly you're walking down a road. And pieces of the surrounding area start to come in and are almost like they're being built as you're walking there. Sticks, large struts, stones building up until within a few moments you're actually walking between two buildings of a town. You see roofs overhead. You see, as you're making your way through, it's almost as if the heavens themselves above you are being created as you watch. The blue of the sky starting to roll out of the darkness, clouds appearing. You start hearing voices ahead of you, crowds talking, commerce happening, clinking of gold coins.
And this is why you don't mix potions with whiskey.
And as the three of you are making your way forward, you look that as the buildings give way to a town square, just an open air market area, and ahead, standing in the middle of this little open air area, is a statue of a man. And the man looks very, like, standing in a very heroic pose, one fist raised to the sky as if in defiance. The clothing that it's depicted as wearing isn't noble, isn't armor. It looks like almost normal peasant garb, a vest over a tunic, normal pants, boots, a belt with some pouches on it. Overall, just looks like a fairly normal person, although something about the face is very, very familiar.
I feel like the eyes are following me no matter where I go.
And your first instinct as you look at it is it almost looks like Lindo, but it's wrong. The nose is slightly different. The brow ridge is a little heavier. The jaw has a wider set to it. The facial hair that it's depicted as having is not any that you've ever seen him wear. It looks like Lindo if you've aged him about 20 years. And as you're standing there watching it, you see people gathering around it, having a conversation. They're talking about, yes, we're celebrating the anniversary, of course, and oh yes, it's an amazing time. Yes, it's the day that our hero saved the village, and they're clinking together some goblets that they have apparently acquired from the nearby tavern. They're talking about how this amazing hero really did like these epic things. He went out and he rescued some small children from a cave, and he beat back the monsters that were there, and that he was this glorious, amazing hero. And they don't give a name, but they just continue talking about it, and it's rolling over you. Perception checks. Jackson?
19.
16.
And you got some dice there, Elliot?
Eventually. 10.
10. So Elliot, you're caught up in just looking around, trying to piece together what's actually happening. The two of you, as you're looking around, Wilf, you look over and you see, just briefly through the crowd of people over by the tavern, what looks almost like a flash of color. And as you try to look over there, it's gone. But it's something very vibrantly colored, just moved by. But you didn't quite catch what it was. The only thing you got is a mental image of like a feather, like a vibrant blue plume with an orange plume next to it, and you don't recognize it, but you're fairly certain you saw it, but then it was gone. Jackson, as you're standing there, you look over, and standing off to one side of the square, kind of in an alleyway, is a young boy. Very kind of withdrawn, looking extremely grumpy. Just does not look like they're having a very good day. And as the people around the statue start to make their way away, still celebrating and talking about all the accolades that this person has done, the young boy actually makes his way out of the alleyway, comes over to the statue itself, looks up at it, and is scowling a deep, dissatisfied scowl, and then kicks the bottom of the statue and spits on it. And as you're watching that happen, you see the young boy just kind of look very sad, tear coming down the side, and for another moment, you see this blackness start to kind of coalesce around the statue. You see the eyes suddenly flash a red, and it turns and looks down at the young boy and gets this wide grin, and it looks down. Come here, boy. And it steps down off, almost staggering as it steps down off its plinth. The young boy starts to backpedal, starts to scream out, and though no one around the area seems to be listening, no one hears him.
Nope.
And
as I head in,
as you start to draw your sword, Wilf, as you ready yourself, Elliot, you see what's going on. You realize that this is, whatever this is not good. And you hear this kind of, almost like the rustling of silks. You hear this swooshing sound. And from above, you hear this creaking of rope on wood. And flying through the air, landing on the ground in front of you, a billowing cloak hanging from well-framed shoulders, perfectly groomed goatee. Hair, just waves of nice chestnut color coming down out of a hat, a magnificently large hat with massive plumage coming off one side, little glinting bits of platinum and gold shining from ear, from hat, from all of the clasps holding together this colorful guise that is garbing this person, and you immediately recognize it as Lindo Espina, the beautiful Thorn. Please, join us at the table.
It is I! Ha ha!
Lindo Espina, the beautiful Thorn!
Oh, you know of me. Of course you know of me. That is a stupid question.
It certainly is Lindo, but you note that there are subtle differences. The Lindo here is holding himself taller, straight-backed, proud, has the grin that you remember on Lindo is there, but there's no hint of irony to it. It is pure and passionate and looks excited for the thrill of what's about to happen.
And Lindo's teeth
And
Yes.
as that happens, the statue, as it was about to reach down and grab the child, it actually stops and looks over, and it kind of gets this, again, that smirk across its face, like a very self-satisfied person, just, you think you can stop me? Come get it then, as it starts to shamble towards you lot. And that is where we're going to roll initiative.
Ba-da-da-da-da.
Whee!
All right, if we can go ahead and start over with Elliot.
11.
11, Lindo.
23.
23, welcome back.
Thank
Wilf.
you.
14.
14, Jackson.
16.
16, okay. And of course, the statue, a large stone statue that starts shambling towards you, gets using these wonderful new dice that Brian bought me for Christmas.
Ooh.
Yay.
It is certainly not going first. So, let's go with Lindo.
Eh?
Please, you may go first.
Okay. So, statue is coming at me.
Yep.
My cloak is bellowing behind me, along with my feather, which is just kind of wafting. And, I know who this is. Yes. I want to do a tumble forward, a somersault, and then I take out my sword, La Rosa, and the stranger.
Mm-hmm.
And I stab it through the heart. If it has a heart, because it is stone, so I am confused.
Okay. So Lindo, go ahead and roll me a acrobatics roll with advantage.
I'm very talented.
Yeah.
I am the most talented person that you ever known. 14?
14. So you execute this amazing forward tumbling roll. You come up with both swords swishing out of their scabbards.
Ha-ha!
You see both of their blades glittering in the light far more than they really should. It's almost as if as the light hits them, they get these perfect little ding.
Oh, yeah.
And you can almost hear the little chime that it makes as the sunlight glints off of it. And Lindo leaps forward with both weapons and attempts to stab into the thing. Go ahead and roll me an attack.
Ha-ha! La Rosa, she strikes again. 15?
A 15. Unfortunately, La Rosa makes... You stab forward, and it skips off of the stony hide of the statue. Oh?
21?
Oh, yes. And this is still La
Stranger
Rosa?
danger.
Or is this the stranger?
Stranger danger!
So the stranger, on the other hand, it's almost as if he meant to do it. The skipping off of it caused the statue to reel back slightly, and as the arm lifts, as if in response to the hit, the stranger comes snaking in and stabs into the creature. Roll your damage.
Loda! 3.
Okay. So you stab into it and you chip off a bit, leaving a score across its side.
I land. La Rosa, why you do this to me? Even in my dreams, eh?
Jackson, it's your turn.
Walk forward, push the boy out of the way. Move aside, young one.
It seems terrified, but he kind of scoots back and just nods. Deep brown eyes looking on in terror.
Draw the sword of the Dawn Guard that I have and a couple attacks.
All right.
That will be added 10.
Okay, so unfortunately a 10 will miss.
And a 21.
21 will absolutely hit. Okay.
It might hit. Maybe.
Go ahead and roll your damage, sir. Are you attempting a smite, or are you just rolling with it?
I'm just going to roll with it for right now.
Whoosh.
Okay.
And this is not considered an undead, I'm assuming?
It is not.
9.
9 points?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And that was Jackson. Wilf, it is your turn.
I gather up the holy light inside me and I shoot it out like missiles.
Okay.
Using a little blast.
Alrighty. Brilliant, flaring, radiant energy flying out of your hands in the holy bolts that slam into it.
With a 10-foot knockback now.
Nice.
Ooh.
Well, we're going to start that off with a 23 to hit.
That will absolutely hit.
And the second shot, that is going to be a 25 to hit.
Both of those hit. Roll your damage.
So proud.
Doing good.
New dice. That's a 4 damage and a 7 damage.
Okay. So total of 11.
A total of 11. But also, he gets knocked back. He gets knocked back 20 feet. No save.
All right, so you slam these radiant bolts of energy into it, and it starts to stagger back. And as it does so, it bellows out. And the sound of it, you've heard the sound before from drunkards getting into brawls in taverns. It's not a bellow of pain, but more of just rage and just frustration as it happens. Back to Elliot.
Elliot looks at everything and puts his hand out, says, "You who attack my friends, shatter." So cast shatter.
Okay.
Constitution saving throw, 15.
Constitution saving throw of a nope.
Oh, good.
Hell yeah. Welcome to season 3, episode 1. All of us roll super good except La Rosa.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Okay, that's normal.
Anything
now,
around that particular thing also gets destroyed with this much damage.
The only thing nearby was the dais that the statue stepped down off of, which does not get a save and is just going to take it. How much damage?
3. I got 3 ones.
Wow!
And that's how you crack a plinth.
Okay, yeah, so the plinth just cracks through. The statue gets a couple little flecks of stone that fly off of it from the force of the damage, but it doesn't seem to be overly affected.
Hey, at least it didn't have that.
3 ones.
So the large stone statue looks down, and it, again, kind of looking at Lindo as he's standing there, and just shakes his head. "You came at the wrong time, boy." As it starts to stagger forward a step or two and then turns into a run, both fists raised like it wants to slam them down.
Okay, has anybody seen Tiny Edwin? He was around here a moment ago.
22 to hit Lindo.
Yes, this hits Lindo.
You take 19 points of damage as its fist slam down on you.
Ow.
And then as it turns to Jackson, it raises its fist and comes for an uppercut.
I would like to uncanny dodge.
You may, so you get to take half that damage, so you only take 9.
Excellent.
Jackson, you basically just, as its fist comes to hit you, you just pull your shield in, you deflect the blow, and it skips up your shield. Still causes you to kind of step a half step back, and the force of the blow is very, very intense, but it doesn't actually end up hitting you.
That's how we're going to play things, huh?
Back to the top of the round with Lindo.
Okay, no, I'm serious. We need to find Tiny Edwin. I'm going to spot check for the tiny boy.
Easily seen. Jackson had actually pushed him off to the side at the beginning of the fight, so you see him off to the side of the the area you're in, just hiding at the mouth of the alleyway, just terrified and staring.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You stay there. Stay. He is not a good listener. Okay. So, I, once again, look dramatic. Pose, obviously. Swooshing.
The cloak billowing in a wind that doesn't seem to be hitting anybody
More
else.
dramatic than usual because this will obviously hit this time. And I double strike again.
Okay. So,
Wait.
La Rosa first.
La Rosa is always first. 18?
Hit.
Woo!
And don't forget your sneak attack.
Ooh.
I believe you forgot it last round.
Oh,
I did.
well, I mean, yeah, because Lindo's a swashbuckler.
Yeah. As a swashbuckler, Lindo would have gotten sneak attack last round as well.
Oh.
It's okay.
It's a dream. Sometimes I mess up and forget things.
Welcome back.
Okay, I need to count. That's 10, 15, 16, 17 plus 8 is a
25.
number. Okay, now add that to 3.
Okay. So yeah, you make your way forward again, just cloak billowing in this breeze. You swish La Rosa around in a pattern, and you slide it into one of the cracks formed in the outside of the statue, and you twist it slightly, and there's a popping sound as stone grinds against itself. And again, the grunt as the hand of the statue kind of goes over the wound, and it kind of pulls it away. It doesn't see, there's no blood or anything, but it looks down in it, and it looks upset. How dare you! You get your other attack?
16?
Miss.
Swoosh. I get very distracted by the fact that he even said words to me.
Jackson.
Step on up. Couple more swings.
All right.
Yes. 17.
Hit.
Well,
Guess it's AC.
another 9.
5. Is it
Another
5?
9. Okay.
It's 5. AC
and
5.
then second one is going to be for 24.
That'll hit.
Sure.
That
no,
I
it's
will
5.
do a
I
second
truly
level
believe if you
smite
believe
on.
hard enough,
Okay.
it might be 5.
5.
Let's see.
Mhm.
12, 13. 16.
16 points. All right. So your first slash catches it across the thigh, and it staggers slightly. This one, you bring the sword back up in a slash from hip to shoulder, and as the radiant fire issues forth from your sword, you see it kind of licking away at the wounds, burning and scorching the rock. As it's doing so, you note that the some of the rock itself seems to be burning away, and underneath you're looking at a leather vest, and you see almost what looks to be a tunic underneath and skin. Just for the briefest of moments, you get this olive skin tone, and it just kind of forms back into the stone as he staggers back from the hit. That's not fighting fair! And back to Wilf.
You hit them harder. He never fought fair.
I'm going to make a pretty radical assumption and say that you need to go for a pack of smokes now. And give me a DC 14 will against...
It fails.
Oh, good. So it takes 4 psychic damage and is at disadvantage on its next attack, as I did Vicious Mockery,
Okay.
if you couldn't tell.
I was aware, but thank you.
Were you aware?
Very. Elliot.
Yeah, let's do this one. I haven't done it before. I'm going to pull out my big guns.
Got fireball.
I don't have firewall. I have a different one. I slam my staff on the ground, and a massive cloud appears above the
Okay.
arena, a little bit behind everybody, but enough to get him as giant pieces of hail fall down and land on the ground.
Okay, so
As I cast Hailstorm.
So a massive hailstorm, giant chunks of ice falling out of the newly formed cloud. What do I roll for that?
I believe it is Dexterity saving throw, DC 15.
Nope.
All right.
Dexterity is not this thing's strong suit.
I like how that dice rolls.
Okay.
With a
It
nice
says
solid-
nope a lot.
It says nope a lot, and it says nope with authority. It's like ka-chung.
Ka-chunk no.
All right, what do we got?
Oh, much. Oh, God.
Better?
Yeah.
Or worse.
Much better. 21, 28, 30.
30 points?
30 points of both bludgeoning and cold damage.
Okay, so as he staggered back from Jackson's slash, suddenly he's just being pelted by these massive hailstones as they're crashing down. Chunks of the rock around his shoulders and head start to break away. He falls to his knees, and as the hail just batters it almost into nothing, the chest and the head fall back down onto the ground, and it just sneers up at you. You'll never be anything. Nothing. Never any. And a chunk of rock just slams down, or a chunk of ice hits him square in the face, shattering the head out onto the paving stones below.
Interesting you say that, as he's been far more greater than you ever were.
Where were you when I was like 10? That was awesome. We were awesome. I flex a little and my hat gets bigger.
You actually hear the creak of the leather of what he's wearing creaking as he flexes.
Poof.
You note, by the way, that Lindo was, even though he gotten hit, even though he was just in the fight, immaculately clean, head to toe, like he was just, like he walked out of his house in the morning.
I need to test something really quick.
Uh-huh.
I put my hand down, get a little bit of whatever dirt from.
Sure.
Just rub that on real quick.
You just polished the leather.
I have theories on this.
The young boy at the edge of the alleyway, after the hailstorm subsides, walks over to the remnants of the statue. Once again, kicks a chunk of it, spits, looks up at the group of you, gives a kind of a shaky nod, looks at you, kind of takes a breath, looks like he's about to say something, and turns and just jogs into the alleyway, disappearing from sight.
You're welcome.
I give him finger guns as he runs. Pew.
So you're standing there in this open square. Again, you still see people going about their business around you. None of them have noticed this fight. No one seems to have any idea of what's going on. They're still talking about all of these things. Although you note that the conversation about this hero seems to have died down, and now they're just going on about random business things that don't seem to make much sense.
I never liked this town. It's just, statues, sadness, down.
Lindo,
Eh?
have you had enough rest?
Wait, I haven't slept anytime recently. I mean, I'd have bedhead, right? And my hair is immaculate. Gling.
Okay. I guess what would there be in Brian's being smarter than Wilf? Intelligence to discern, rudimentary
Sure.
psychology.
Why not? Go for it.
14, because
Looks like Lindo.
proficient in all knowledges.
Looks like Lindo. Looks like,
Smells like Lindo.
smells like heroic Lindo. Smells like Lindo's vision of himself as a hero, of what a hero should look like.
Big hat.
You're not sure this is you don't recognize the Lindo that you
cat.
knew, because the Lindo you knew was wearing a thin veneer of heroism, whereas this is through and through every little bit. of a
Almost
hero.
like we're viewing Lindo's ego.
Potentially.
Okay. Maybe this isn't all of Lindo, but this is what Lindo wants to see Lindo like.
It's possible.
Did you put us inside Lindo's head?
Maybe.
Wait, no, there's no maybe. Did you put us inside Lindo's head?
Do you think we would all look better if we all stood together very closely and posed dramatically?
I think
No.
there's only one way for us to find out.
Yeah!
Again, it's almost as if the clouds part, a single shaft of light coming down, illuminating both of them standing there. Lindo gleams in the sunlight.
That felt pretty good.
Yeah, no, I think the answer is yes.
We are in Lindo's psyche, subconscious. We need to separate the evil from the good.
Okay. Oh. That sounds like it could have used a little bit of exposition before we were in it, but
There is no such thing as evil,
I
Lindo.
figured-
Just misunderstood.
The evil is not from you, Mr. Lindo.
And balls. God, that's
Again,
good.
Gleam.
so,
You're saying there is a little bit of Bane.
Yes. And a bit of Palor as well. The problem
Okay.
is the Bane and the Palor don't like each other, and they're having a massive battle inside Lindo. And we need to stop it.
Is it because my brain is so big?
No.
Yes, Lindo. That's what it is.
Look at all this space in here. It's just
Vast, empty swaths of lands. Yes, no, perfect for fighting.
I'll agree with the vast empty swaths of land.
So, as you say that, you look over across the main square. You note that the road seems to go off into that blackness you came from. The cobblestone starting to disappear about 15 feet down that way. Lindo, you realize, yeah, that's it. That's next.
Away! And I started jogging down the cobblestone path.
I feel like we should probably go with
Da,
that
da,
Lindo.
da, 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 da,
As
da.
Lindo is doing this, you hear the music start in the background. You hear almost as if an orchestra is playing right behind the walls of the surrounding buildings. And you hear this music start to swell up into this crescendo as Lindo just runs and then leaps off into the darkness of the way down the cobblestones disappearing. He disappears and the music crescendos and then goes down into just nothingness as you're just hearing the communication of the people going about their day. Although every time you try to focus on what they're saying, it's just gibberish.
Am I the only one who was expecting something a little more loud?
Oh, Palor, save me.
Let's follow him.
Yeah, we should go after him.
Agreed.
So you guys make your way across. Just as you're making your way in there and you're disappearing down into the dark corridor, one last look behind you, you're able to see the young boy looking relieved and a little bit like sad but not angry, as just poking his head around the alleyway and gives a brief wave as you make your way into the darkness once again and enveloping you almost as if you've lost all sense of physical self.
Who do you think the boy was?
I think his name was Edwin.
I was thinking something
Who's
like that
Edwin?
myself. There's much to catch you up on.
You hear ahead of you the sound of footfalls and the echoes of some orchestrated music. And as you make your way forward, you note that the sound of your feet that used to be on cobblestones before they disappeared, now you're hearing the sound of gravelly, just dirt. And you start hearing that, and you start smelling the smells of the forest around you. You're hearing bird song in the distance. You starting to get the feeling of close-in trees. And as your awareness comes back to you, you're walking down a forest path, a well-trod one. Definitely looks like on the outskirts of the town, just through the trees in the distance, you're able to make out what look like walls of a city some miles off.
I dropped down dramatically from the tree.
Yeah, out of nowhere, with a swooshing of silk again, Lindo lands in front of you, just, again, arranged perfectly, the smile across his face.
Hello, friends.
I think that might be inconceivable without getting pine needles in your hair.
Look at his hair.
Perfect.
Swoosh.
Why can't we ever go into my brain?
I don't think that would be
Swish,
any better.
swish.
So, Lindo, you note that you remember this place. You've been here before. You know exactly what's down the way.
I dramatically start telling my story. About The Thanes.
Lindo starts to explain to you that, yes, he did come here once before. This was a nice summer day when he decided to run off and join an acting troupe. And as he mentions that, he pushes aside some brush that just happened to be down across the path ahead of you. And as he does so,
Storybook style.
yes, ahead of you as it moves to the side, almost like draping moss being pulled aside.
That's just paper.
And ahead of you, you see an open clearing. And in the clearing are big, colorful wagons. One of them seems to have the side opened up into a stage with small lanterns at the corners. You see seating areas arranged around them. And several of the other wagons, one of them seems to have someone who's cooking something up. The side is open. The smell of roasting meat and vegetables starts to flow out. And you see people on the stage having just a grand old time discussing, poetry and philosophy to a small group of what look like townies and farm folk.
You see, after my dad left, because, that was him, he was less stony. I don't know. Dreams are weird. Anyways, I kind of tried to find my way. And, I was never brave or strong or smart but I was very good at acting. And so, I thought maybe I could help people through skill of acting, eh?
And as Lindo starts to lead you into the clearing where this little kind of woodland acting scene is starting to play out, that is where we'll leave you for this episode. So, thank you for joining us for the first episode of Season 3 of Hazardous Endeavors. And until next time,
Game on, Internets!